This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotato.com.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
I am Iron Man. That's a big twink.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds.
You are a toy!
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Why so serious?
The city's flying. We're fighting an army of robots. And I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
And welcome to World War G, episode 225. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
And I'm Colton.
All right. Let's get right into it, shall we?
Sound good?
Let's do.
I don't think we have anything pre-game to talk about.
Ooh, we could talk about the 4th of July and how the fact that my daughter threw a poppet.
Oh,
at
yeah.
me,
That's right.
and the poppet went directly into my ear and popped. And I felt like John Wick because I had the ringing in my... Like, you know, when... Like gunfire goes off next to someone in a movie and it's like the ringing and everything's muffled. That's exactly what it's like. It was insane how accurately they portray that.
But just with on a smaller scale.
I don't know. It didn't sound small. I mean, it was directly in my ear. And I was actually really scared. Like, I was like, oh no, did I damage my eardrum?
I would be scared too. That sounds painful.
It was. It did hurt for like a good couple hours. Like almost like ear infection level. Have you guys ever had an ear infection?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, kids are fun.
Yes.
After that, we had a rule of no throwing poppets at each other.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. That's how rules are made. Like, I've always wondered how, like, certain rules and laws and stuff, you know, like, hey, don't put this, like, microwave or this toaster or something, you know, in the water, or don't blow dry your hair in the shower. I'm like,
no fishing off of a horse's back.
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
That's illegal in Utah.
It is illegal in Utah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Up until a couple of years ago in Utah, we couldn't, like, walk down 25th Street with a violin case as well.
Well,
That's
Mafia.
because you could hide a gun in there.
yeah, those mobsters back in the day. My 4th of July, I didn't do anything. We had a little get together, but nothing really special.
Shindig, a soiree.
Yep.
Or something.
I ate hot dogs. I ate hot dogs for America.
Yes.
Yep.
I love that.
Very
foundation.
patriotic.
Yep. Did my patriotic duty.
Hot dogs for America.
It's a good one. It's a nice little nonprofit.
How many did you put away? Did you, like, dunk them in water and then just, like...
I think I only had one.
There was that dude that, like, set a new... Like, no, I guess he didn't this time. Like, he was 3 off what he did, like, the previous year. He, like, set a record of 74 hot dogs.
Is it Joey Chestnut?
I believe so, yeah.
Like an hour or something?
No, dude, it was, like, a couple minutes. Like, it's a pretty, like, short amount of time. And this time he did, like, 71, but still, like, won the title.
Because I know there's 2 really big competitive eaters. One is Joey Chestnut. He's an American guy. The other is an Asian dude. I forgot his name.
The Asian gal as well. She's held the title, like, for the longest amount of time, like, with the hot dog eating contest.
The funny thing about these people is they're all really skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, crazy,
strange.
super high metabolisms or something. Like, I eat, like, a pound of food and gain 5.
No, yeah. Joey Chestnut earns 4th straight win at Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
Does it say how many minutes? Because it was 71, right?
The hot dog eating god
Oh, wow.
wolfed down 71 hot dogs in 10 minutes to earn his 12th overall mustard belt at Coney Island. But Chestnut looked disappointed. He said he'd been eyeing 75 hot dogs for the world record. He can hang his head high on this. Absolutely no one was gonna catch up to him.
Oh, wow. He can relish, you know, the thought of winning again.
Man, after eating all those hot dogs, you must turd.
Yes.
All of the other competitors didn't have a chance.
You will be in quite the pickle after that.
Wow.
Open a window and let all those puns out.
It's so gross. Like, have you ever seen a hot dog eating contest?
I have.
Yeah.
Dip it in the water and just slide it in.
yeah.
And
There's no
swallow it.
there's no pleasure in eating a hot dog like that, whatsoever, that quickly, and just dunking in water. And, ugh.
Gosh, could you imagine what your stomach must look like after that?
Just
I would love to see an X-ray of somebody's gut.
71 hot dogs in your belly, like buns and all.
Yep.
ugh.
Yeah, because I always thought that about.
Or the aftermath.
Yeah, the aftermath. Thought about that because I would think about that with the old show Man vs. Food. You guys ever watch that?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, with Adam
that
Richmond. I always thought, man, after he did some of those eating challenges, what his toilet must look like,
Right?
afterwards.
Eating those ghost peppers and
Yeah.
all sorts of other stuff. It's like, well, he had to eventually end up quitting, leaving the show because he'd gained so much weight
Yep.
from it and was having problems.
Yeah.
I think he's since done another TV show where they find these hidden eateries and dives that nobody knows about that are fly under the radar. There's a noodle shop in a laundromat or some random I don't know, but
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I couldn't be a competitive eater. Nope.
I think I could do some of those different challenges, and whenever I watch that show, I'd be like, okay, that's something I could do. I wouldn't want to do it, because I enjoy eating and I don't want to ruin a certain food I love.
Yeah.
But some of those those huge pizzas, or they put away they even have locally 5-pound omelet. I'm like, I could probably do that, but then I'd probably never eat eggs again.
Right.
So crazy. If you ate that stuff every single day, I just can't even imagine what you would look like 28 months later. You know?
Except for we're talking about
Good.
The Walking Dead
Oh,
next.
dang it. That's not the one.
Oh,
That would have been a good segue.
right.
You were close. You were close. So,
So we didn't jump right into it.
no, we didn't. It was
We
good.
went off on a huge tangent.
Yeah.
Started talking about 4th of July and ended up talking about
Hot dogs.
eating a whole bunch of food all at once.
All the terrible hot dogs.
America.
All right. So, Kirkman and Image confirm The Walking Dead ends with issues number 193, 194, and 195 canceled. So, on July 3rd, 2019, The Walking Dead writer Robert Kirkman and Image Comics have issued statements confirming the end of the long-running series with this week's number 193 now available. And there's a quote here that says, I'll say it again, I love writing this series. I really don't want it to end. In fact, I've been kind of unsettled since I wrote the script for the issue. This whole thing just feels weird, wrote Kirkman in a letter published with The Walking Dead number 193. In a way, killing this series has been a lot like killing a major character. Much, much harder. But the same feeling. I don't want to do it. I'd rather keep going, but the story is telling me what it wants and what it needs. This needs to happen whether I want it or not.
I think there was also some other influences, that kind of said all right, let's end this.
Well, it's been running for so long.
Right?
Yeah.
193 comics.
I almost feel like he should have milked it for 200 just to,
Go
just to,
7 more.
right?
That's
Also,
what I was
there's
thinking
7
too.
issues. That's
I'm
such a
like-
random number, 193. Okay. And he scrapped a couple of, which ones was it that he scrapped the few?
94, 95.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can get to 200.
Right?
Just end it on that. Just fill the other comics with the survivors and what they're doing and kind of wrap up their lives and that sort
Give
of
them
thing.
a better ending, you know?
I did see the last panel or last couple panels of Walking Dead number 193. It's Carl sitting with his daughter, basically recounting the entire story to her. Like, that whole thing has pretty much been
Are they
him
sitting
telling
and
the
eating
story.
some pudding?
Pretty much. Kind of sitting in the living room, just relaxing, and he's telling her all about it.
So Carl doesn't die in the comics.
He does not.
No,
he
because
lives.
he's supposed to be the one that takes the mantle, and this is his story, basically, or at least in the comics it is, his rise to, and even with the video games. I'm replaying those so I can play the last one. Clementine. You know, these kids, you want to see them that have grown up in a world like this actually rise to become like the leader and the new, you know, moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're led to believe that the walkers are gone. That's no longer an issue, and yeah.
It would be interesting to see how like a civilization actually would pick up after that, because you've got like, it's basically like, I've heard a lot of people when they go to prison, there's new rules, you have to adjust to this new society, right? That you've created, that they've created. And then when you get out, you still want to live by those certain rules and those tendencies, you know, survival of the fittest kind of a thing. So once there were like the walkers were no longer an issue, it'd be kind of weird not to have to worry about that and to actually like, I think I'm going to learn how to make an iPad again. I really miss those, you know, or what you'd actually end up doing.
Yeah, you would have to adjust. Like if you were in a coma and woke up 28 days later.
Oh, that's a perfect segue. Thanks, Troy.
I hope to be a part of one of those someday.
Yeah, so the 28 days and 28 weeks later, this series by Daniel Boyd says he says that another 28 days later film, which should be 28 months later, is in the works with Alex Garland. So the first original one, like if you guys can think back that far, took place in 2002, and then 5 years later they came out with the sequel, but then like they'd had plans for it and then it just fell through and then nothing ended up coming from this. But now it's like 2019 and we're finally getting around to like making this third installment.
Well, I'm sure what happened was Danny Boyle probably got busy with other things.
Yeah.
Because I know he's directed a few things since then, and so it was probably always on his schedule, but it just kept getting pushed back because he was offered this job and this job and this job.
But, like, don't you have to do some sort of a due diligence or do the, justice to the, you know, to your projects?
Sure.
Especially considering it was one of the more successful of its kind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure he was always planning on coming back to it.
Maybe 28 years later.
Right?
Maybe that'll be the next one.
That's about the space of time now.
Yeah.
That's what he was thinking. He's just like, you know what? I'll pick this up 28 years from now. We'll be good to go then.
Sounds about right.
That would be cool if that one did come out 28 years after the original came out.
Yeah.
They need to do that.
So 2030? Just...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? All right.
So I don't know if you guys have seen this. Probably you have. There's a new Legend of Zelda series coming out, based off of the video games.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it's supposed to be bloodless and lighthearted and very kid friendly. So,
boo.
I mean,
you had me at no.
I'm fine with that. I mean, it's going to be live action. I wish it was animated, honestly, because then it would be easier to get younger kids into it.
Yeah.
Instead of kids in like their teens who are already into it because of Breath of the Wild and stuff. But I would love to get my kids liking Zelda. So if it would have been animated, that would have been great. Especially if it was lighthearted and kid-friendly.
Plus, you can do so much more. And it's not going to look cheesy like, you know, Aang, the Last Airbender.
Or
even the Mario Bros.
There's a bunch of shows that are like that are just really low budget, but they have a really good story. I'm trying to think of one. Well, like the Merlin series.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Merlin?
I did not. I saw it.
I knew of it, yeah.
It was really good, and it had a great story, but it was just super cheesy in terms of like the special effects and everything, and that's how I'm imagining this being. So hopefully they do it more justice, make it more like keep it lighthearted and family friendly, but also do it more serious as well, like not so fluffy.
Yeah. I mean, and you could do that. I mean, look at Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
It was kid friendly, but at the same time it was violent. It had serious moments.
Yeah.
There was never any blood. There was never any death, but it's still, it was still dark, so you can do it. It is possible.
Yeah, I would have gone animated for sure.
Yeah.
And it's way cheaper.
Yeah. We don't have to hire all the actors and yeah.
Well, what direction? I mean, okay, since there's quite a few different ones that they could go with this, because there's so many different Zelda games, which one are they going to be taking it from?
I think they're probably going to come up with their own.
Really?
I don't think that they'll use inspiration from any of the video games.
Which sucks, because then they're just making their own. I mean, I know it's an adaptation, it's their own interpretation of this, but like if you get people that don't really care about the video games or have that much of an invested interest, it's gonna be garbage.
I think the ones that would be more successful are the ones that revolve around objects of power. Like if they did the Majora's Mask story, I think it could be really successful. But, I mean, there's not really anything... Like, Ocarina of Time is not really a huge thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the most popular for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that Majora's Mask is a better story.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I bet... Yeah, like you said, I bet it'll be an original story, but I think they'll probably have Easter eggs in there. I'm sure.
I'll have to. Well, this could either make or break, like, them doing this in the future, right? If they get so much hate and flack from it, nobody's going to want to try to touch another, like, video game adaptation TV show.
True.
Live action, right?
Yeah.
This could definitely determine what direction they go with it. If we see, like, a ton of, like, things. If it does really well, like Daredevil-esque levels, then we're going to get, like, all these other ones like we did.
Yep.
And this is not meant to sound racist in any sort of way. I don't want the heavy Asian culture influence, like Korean K-pop stuff in this. Like, because that's how not Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild is.
Yeah.
Like, all of the characters that you talk to are pretty, like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that through words.
Doing, like, the whole different poses and...
Yeah,
like,
I want it to be more... I want it to have a lot of realism.
Right.
Like how people would actually act.
When interacting with, like, somebody else, or, like, you go up and have a...
For sure.
Well, that would be kind of funny, because, like, a lot of the conversations, after you finish, like, talking to them, you just walk away. You just, like, you don't end a conversation, like, on a normal note. It's kind of like the same way that a lot of shows will end a, phone call, rather than being like, all right, okay, thanks, yep, yep, bye. It's just like, okay.
Click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be funny to see what they do.
If they had it more Lord of the Rings style, that would be cool. Still have, like, because it's still going to have swords and magic and stuff in it. So if they just did it really nice.
Witcher kind of as well.
Yeah, I just want them to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it deserves that.
Take it seriously. Make it kind of epic.
Mm-hmm.
Mix in Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, all that type of thing.
Right.
I think they could probably have a hit on their hands. But they just got to treat it very carefully.
I think they should have, like, a younger kid be Link, maybe in his, like, teens.
I think he'll be late teens, like 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would guess. Yeah.
Then you can kind of cover all the bases, because you're going to get, like, all these, like, fans of the older ones and new fans, and kind of split the difference.
Okay. So we know that Disney Plus is coming out with different series as far as Marvel goes. And one of the ones they're coming out with is Loki. We saw in Endgame that Loki was able to get his hands on the cube, the Tesseract, and he opened up a portal and he was gone. Well, it turns out that what's going to happen is Loki is basically going to, as it says here, he pops up throughout human history as an unlikely influencer on historical events. So he's going to be basically traveling through time.
Okay.
And it's going to be a departure from the character. He's going to be more of a good guy than he has been in the past. he's gonna play more the hero than anything else. So,
which is weird because the Loki that took the cube hadn't done all the growing
right
from that movie onward.
Right. He hadn't been in Ragnarok yet, and he hadn't. Yeah.
So that's
Agreed.
Interesting.
I'm sure it's because he's such a fan favorite, and
yeah, I mean Tom Hiddleston does a great job.
Yes, he does.
As Loki.
It'll be just interesting to see. Like, do you think it'll detract away from some of his like darker moments if he just stays like, heroic?
I bet he'll have those moments.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure they'll pop up every
like
now
big
and again.
decisions to kind of what direction to go.
Yeah, but no, I don't think it'll detract from anything.
Maybe what they'll do is have him pop into the future and then see how Thanos kills him and how he tries to kill Thanos. And then he'll be like, oh, shoot, I was actually a good guy. I better live up to that.
But then, like, if he does that, then, like, all of his betrayal and all of his other things, his ulterior motives will kind of... I don't know. It's difficult... I mean, I was thinking because it's difficult. It's not impossible, but like you have a heroic character, then he goes down a dark path, and then he comes back, and like in the end ends heroically. So that's I guess kind of the direction that they're gonna go with it. But I don't.
See, what they're gonna have to do though is, and I don't think that they'll be able to, even though they have Disney money. They'll need to have the effects, story, and just overall acting quality of an actual Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
Oh,
right.
Sure.
Because if they make it cheesy like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., then it's
low budget.
It's not going to be successful at all.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would have to have like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? You'd have to have cameos to even bring in more fans? He's a pretty good character himself.
He is.
I think it could be successful on its own.
Yeah.
People want to see him using his powers. Like, he has really cool powers.
I think if they do cameos, that it won't be anybody that we've seen. They'll probably have Marvel characters in it,
right?
I would assume at some point, but it's not going to be characters that we've already are familiar with.
Unless they're like the C-level characters, like Falcon. Well, I guess he's...
Yeah.
No, he's getting his own series now.
He's his own thing now.
Which there'll probably be a crossover, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Marvel characters, well, Ryan Reynolds having played one, he's to star in a new and direct a new Home Alone, but for adults, and he's calling it Stoned Alone. It's gonna take place with a guy that gets like really baked, and then he gets stuck home when people. I mean, so it's not straying too far from the source material, but he has to basically survive other people, or he gets really paranoid and kind of has a bad trip and believes that other people are trying to like break in and burglarize his house, so he has to go all Home Alone style. And
so are people not actually breaking in? It's just his paranoia?
Like that, they haven't really gone into too much details on in this article, at least. But that would be kind of funny. They're just like, the doorman just goes like, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" And he thinks he's like up to something, nefarious. Yeah. And it's got potential. I don't know.
I don't know.
After seeing the trailer, I'm sure you'll watch it, Troy.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's Ryan Reynolds. He doesn't do anything bad anymore.
True, but he doesn't really do anything different anymore either. That's part of the problem.
Does what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He does his Ryan Reynolds thing, and...
Well, is that... I mean, because that's the way he is in real life, like, for the most part, like, you've seen a lot of his tweets and different, like, interactions with fans and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I know, like, you have a certain persona and, like, like something to hold up to, but at the same time... I mean, I guess he could do action movies, but I'd kind of like to see him in some sort of a drama, a dark drama.
Guaranteed, though, he's going to have a Deadpool poster in his stoner room.
Oh, for sure.
There's no way that there's not going to be any sort of reference to Deadpool in this movie.
Yeah, because
he's Detective Pikachu as well.
I don't know. I could see more in Deadpool, because that's a lot more...
Stoner friendly.
yeah, a lot more successful than Detective Pikachu was.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm sure he will, because you gotta shoehorn that in somehow.
Hey, don't forget about this, guys. Don't forget.
Yeah, remember, I'm Deadpool, guys. Remember? Let's throw that in there.
We'll never forget.
Hey, exactly. He's
Yes,
pulling an M. Night
unfortunately.
Shyamalan, from the director of, from the creator of. Oh, man.
Okay. Yeah. Aren't you doing Little Mermaid?
Oh shoot, yeah, I am. I skipped. Gosh, I've been doing this. So apparently, Melissa McCarthy is in talks to play Ursula in the new Little Mermaid adaptation, live action adaptation. It's not confirmed yet, but honestly, I would like to see this. I'd like to see her in more of a villainous role.
Yes.
And I don't think that she should go any sort of comedy route. Like, I don't think she should be her Melissa McCarthy character.
There'll be a couple of comedic, like, if she has to interact with those eels.
Yeah, the eels, that's fine. But I don't want her to play Melissa McCarthy as Ursula.
Kind of go more of a Maleficent direction, right? Angelina Jolie character.
Yeah, I want to see that too. I'm trying to think of the animated film. I don't think Ursula got a whole lot of comedic beats.
No,
maybe she
I don't
got.
think so either.
No, not that I remember. But yeah, I'm hoping that too. I'm hoping that they don't just say, "Okay, Melissa McCarthy, do your thing and go." I hope there's not a whole lot of like improv and stuff like that.
She has some reins, some actual lines that she has to deliver and certain beats. Yeah. Okay, did you guys ever see the movie King Arthur, the newest one with the dude from Sons of Anarchy?
Nope. Never did see
there
that.
Was the villain in that movie, he enlisted the help of this like eel type creature that had different tentacles and like looked like, seriously, like I thought it was like Ursula that he was interacting with, but he had to, in order to get power, he had like sacrifice somebody, so he had sacrificed somebody to her.
Yeah.
But it had some of the best effects, like of Ursula, like looked identical to it. It's like it wrapped kind of around him and it looked spot on. Like if they did something like similar to that, I'd be pretty happy with it. Speaking of the Little Mermaid, you guys want to like talk about that at all?
Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
If they were going to turn one character black, I would have expected it to be Ursula, because she's the one that like seems like the most.
She had an urban vibe.
Yeah.
She had an urban vibe. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been going the 12 rounds with people on the internet.
I don't understand why gingers don't get any love. They really don't. Heimdall, Annie. They turned her black too.
But they had movies already with those characters in them that were red hair.
Yeah.
I read this like article and stuff, and there was like one point that like was really made that I liked, where it's just like, there's nothing wrong with changing the race of any character as long as it doesn't compromise the actual story in any way. Jasmine, Pocahontas, Mulan, Merida cannot be changed outside their race because their stories are based around their culture. Ariel is a fish.
Exactly.
Yeah, right? I was like, that's a really good point.
Ariel is a mer person. So.
Plus, the actress, she's like already comes from a singing background.
Yeah.
And can carry a tune.
Okay, I will say this though.
Yeah.
If they create a Hercules movie and they make Hercules black, you guys have to agree with me, okay? You have to be on my side because it's another ginger that they're making black.
Okay. But I would then say again, in the original tale, in the original story, was Hercules a ginger? I don't think he was.
They're not doing that. They're remaking their old cartoons. That's
yes,
what they're doing.
I know. And what I'm saying is, people talk about the source material and everything. Well, Disney never worried about the source material to begin with when they made their cartoons.
Yeah, but maybe that's why they were successful.
Well, that's true. If they didn't, it would be extremely dark.
They're actually in
Ariel
talks
would have
with
died at the
with
end.
Hercules. Yeah, right. Turned into bubbles.
Yeah,
and
turned into sea foam and
gone
died.
away.
Yeah.
Alexander Skarsgård they were in talks with like him being Hercules.
Yeah, see, that would be fine.
He played Tarzan, like, you know, a pretty buff character.
But fine, if they do that with Hercules, then maybe there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't
There's
want...
a conspiracy.
They don't want
It's the
redheads on
Annabelle
film.
conspiracy.
They don't want redheads on film. Maybe it's off-putting. I don't know.
Just
Just a little bit.
Studio lights.
They have to have just so much makeup on them, because if they don't, then they'll just burn and
Right.
blow away.
The makeup budget alone, like, breaks the budget.
Get a redhead under those hot lights. It's like when Thanos snapped and everybody just disappeared into dust. That's what would happen. Okay.
Blip those redheads out of existence.
Like, speaking of racism.
Yeah. Pixar's Toy Story 4 is now being accused of racism, anti-feminism, and disableism.
You know, I can actually see that.
Oh, can you? Can you really?
No, but I just wanted to be on the other side of things, Troy.
Yeah. So
the winning side. No.
So here, okay. Here's a couple of...
What points or where are they like saying this is coming from?
All right. So famous writer and theater maker Stella Duffy has raised her voice against the movie and called Pixar out for being outdated and still not giving room for black characters. According to the 56-year-old, Toy Story 4 had the opportunity to address major social issues and be more culturally diverse, but instead they just blew it. In addition to calling it racist and anti-feminist, she has also called the movie disableist, i.e. it's insensitive towards people with disabilities. I'm the Grinch who hated it. Seriously, it's 2019. What on earth are Disney doing? Having a film that has no leads that are black characters. Well, yes, there are black actors, but they are yellow and they are green and they are plush. How can they possibly think that's all right now? Yeah, maybe in 1995, which was also wrong then, as well actually. But now, to be serious, where every single humanoid toy is white is just shocking, she said in an interview with BBC Radio 4's Saturday Review.
Where's the feminism coming from?
It's coming right now.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about the white feminism on display here. Oh, look, Bo Peep's a feminist. No, she's not. She's still going to fall in love. You know, feminism doesn't mean women can't fall in love. But anyway, regardless. She's still going to have the happily ever after. That's not feminism?
Oh, women shouldn't be happy.
They shouldn't be happy.
Perfect.
They should not fall in love.
Awesome. I love this new feminism idea.
Feminism. It's a woman who kicks off her skirt to reveal bloomers. Had a couple of thoughts and does some high wire acts. And it's disableist. It covers all bases. It looks good, but Disney is supposed to look good. There has to be content in the story too, she added. One person replied to this, what does this mean she's going to fall in love? She's still going to have happily ever after. That's not feminism. Are you saying it's anti-feminist to fall in love? Then she responded, no, rather that they're touting it as a feminist film, which I don't think they were.
I didn't hear anything about that. Yeah,
but the minute Woody appears in her sights, her story trajectory is obvious, and the formation of the heteronormative couple is assured.
Oh, whew. We can all sleep soundly.
Okay, so let me break this down here as the resident Toy Story expert.
Yeah.
Saying that there are no main characters that are black, well, Woody, Buzz,
Bo
Peep were, and they were white, I guess, and they're toys, but whatever, Caucasian characters. Now, there could be a reason for this, being that when they first created Toy Story, Pixar was so new and the technology was so new that it was just easier to have a lighter palette on these characters than it would be to have a darker one.
Yeah.
That's just a thought, just an idea.
And they're like with this one, they were just kind of wrapping up the series. They've already had these established characters.
Exactly.
It's not you can just like change them. Like I don't know. mid-story arc.
Exactly. And I don't know. It's just another case of you're just looking too far into these things. You're making an issue where there is no issue to be made.
People want to be offended.
Yes.
And this person who's going on the rant is a white chick. She has no say in what is racist.
Is she? I didn't even check that far.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Stella Duffy. Look how white she is.
Mm.
White and blonde haired.
Blue eyes, I bet.
She's definitely,
Blue eyes.
She's definitely the authority on racism. For sure. Stella, take your white privilege and leave.
I mean, it's just...
It's stupid.
It is stupid. It is stupid. And I don't know where the disableist thing comes from.
They don't have any disabled characters.
I don't
That was
think
taken
so.
care of in Toy Story 1, okay? They got a bunch of disabled toys.
That's true.
So
And they became the heroes at the end.
yeah.
Booyah.
So boo to you, Stella.
But they do have characters that are talked by people of color. Like I said, Ducky and Bunny, Key and Peele. Arguably the funniest characters in that whole movie.
Oh, they were, hands down.
The little toy, the little Polly Pocket type character, there's a little police officer.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was talked by a Latino gal.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But and the other thing is the villain being Gabby is a baby doll from the 50s.
Right.
Which you did not see a whole lot of black baby dolls in the 50s.
Well, and Woody is a cowboy
From the 50s.
and well, even before that, like, was he a 50s cowboy or was he a 1800s cowboy in the 50s?
Well, he says in the movie he was made in the 50s. I think he said late 50s.
But was he like a timepiece kind of? Because that Woody's Roundup show, they didn't have any technology in it. There were no cars or anything. It was
Right.
all just Western.
So, yeah, you're right. I think it was supposed to be...
How many cowboys of color were there?
Django.
I mean, when those that appeared on film, not a whole lot back then, no.
And there was a reason that they didn't appear on film back then, too. It wasn't because of racism. It was because white people just showed up better on screens. And that's why white actors became so popular.
Well, part of it was probably a little racism in there,
A
too.
little bit of racism mixed
You
in
know.
there.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. That's Stella Duffy right there. She's an old white woman.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
She probably
Yep.
drives her Mercedes and
Yeah.
drinks Starbucks.
I mean, I appreciate what she's trying to do. She's trying to get these issues out there. Fine.
But it's not an issue for this movie.
Exactly. It's exactly right. Anyway.
How inclusive do you have to be, like, to make it to where you appeal and appease everybody, like in a
You're
movie?
not going to. That's
Right?
the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a character, let's say they make a Toy Story 5, where all the characters were toys based on people of color, minorities.
Right.
You might get complaints that there were too many black characters and not enough Asian characters.
Or where was the Asian representation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or there was
yeah.
a Latino representation. Or then you'll have the stupid white people.
Complaining.
And I speak as one of them, as a stupid white person, that would come up and say, well, where are all the white characters?
Yeah.
Not that I would say that, but you get my point.
See, look, the reason
I could see you saying.
I would say that.
I'm just kidding.
there's a reason why most TV shows and movies have a majority of white characters, and that's because there are a majority of white people in the United States.
Not so much anymore.
True, but to your point, a lot of Hollywood, though it is changing, a majority of them are Caucasian.
Yeah.
Are white actors and actresses. Though that is changing, and we're seeing that change, and there is a lot more stories based around minorities or women or that
Which
sort
I
of
actually
thing.
find a lot of those to be like really interesting because
Yeah.
you're getting their perspective, from
Yeah.
their point of view.
there's a lot of statistics that come into play, and whether like you're using that to make the movie be an accurate representation of the amount of minorities in the world itself. There are 70% of the United States is white people. That's a pretty big majority.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have 10 people in your movie, 3 of them automatically will be minorities. Like, I think that's fair, but it's not that way anymore. Half of the cast members are black in most movies now.
Yes.
But, you ever seen a movie about black people? How many white people are in those movies? You ever seen Drumline? There's one person in that movie who is white, and he's a cameraman at a football game.
It's true. And Jordan Peele even came out and said that the movies he makes going forward will not have white leads.
Really?
Yeah, they just won't. There will be white characters in there, but they will not be the leads.
Gosh, could you imagine a white director saying that about white people? Like, we're not going to have any black leads. Sorry, guys.
Well,
It's just...
Well, like I said to somebody online, they said, well, you'll just have to go and watch the thousands of other movies that have white leads. But I get what you're saying. And it's a very, very murky topic, and it's a very, we're not going to solve it just sitting here talking, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's a very sensitive subject.
The reason why I have a problem with it is because these are movies.
Yes.
It's not the workforce. It's not regular jobs. It's not
Right.
really going to affect anybody who plays these characters.
Their salary.
Yeah, the one person.
That's in the movie?
Yeah.
No, like, I'm talking about the whole entire cast. Like, if you get, like, a character like Robert Downey Jr., who made a ton of money, right, on this one. Like, but I guess, like, these other guys were given an opportunity in other movies to make more money, and it kind of evens out a little bit.
See, and I just have the opinion of actors are not real people. They're not. They're living in a celebrity world. They have more money than they know what to do with. That's why I don't trust in their political opinions. I don't really care about their opinions at all because they're not living in reality.
The major ones, like the big box office stars, are not. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
There are those that are working class actors that are making, like, for example, those on Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't make that much. Unless you're
This is
a
like
big,
just a-
big name, you don't make that much.
This is an opportunity
what
for
is-
them to actually, like, make it or get
get
their name out
exposure.
there. Get
Yeah, yeah,
exposure,
What is
yeah.
that much, though? Like, less than $100,000 a year, like the average citizen?
They make the average cast member, I believe last time I looked it up, was $750 a week.
Of Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
Jeez.
That's how much they make. Now, you got to think, I mean, that's decent. I mean, yeah, I think that's over $1,400 every 2 weeks. I mean, that's, well, maybe even closer to $2,000.
Not where they're living, though.
But yeah, exactly.
Right?
They're living in New York, which is one of the most expensive places to live.
Yeah.
And so you got to think, that's
sharing
probably tough.
roommates with a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
Also, Saturday Night Live is probably not their only source of income, too.
I wouldn't think so. A lot of them do stand up and stuff like that. And a lot of them are also writers, so they get that income as well. But if you're just a cast member that's just, you know, acting that's just starting out, you're making about that much.
But that kind of also opens up another point or another, like, I don't know, a lot of these people come from humble beginnings, you know, and say we were to, like, ever become, like, stars ourselves or something. Does that all automatically negate, like, our opinions on anything, and we can't, like, talk to, you know, we don't have a voice because, nope, we're a celebrity now, we've made it?
According to Colton, it does.
Yes.
Really? I don't know if I'd go that far. Like, I feel like they have a better I mean, everybody now has a voice on the internet, has made it like so, but like these other people that actually, I don't know, are more popular and have a fan base. And I mean, I don't always like agree with their opinions, but if they want to say something, or I mean,
Yeah.
they've got their own voice.
And I would agree with that. I don't necessarily believe that actors are not people. They are. And when they do come out and talk about their political views and stuff like that, people, unfortunately do tend to listen to them and go with what they're going to say instead of forming their own opinions. That does happen. Absolutely. Because people tend to be sheep and they just tend to go wherever the most popular thing is without ever researching it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, actors do tend to get a bit self-important when they come out and talk about these issues and that sort of thing. And
money definitely, like you can say what you want, money definitely changes a lot of people.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I mean, it can be good and bad. You know, there's a lot of charities and organizations and stuff behind the scenes that you don't see taking place that they're helping out.
Yeah.
Well, like, and there's some actors that kind of took off the actor mantle and now they're doing like actual humanitarian things, like Ashton Kutcher and Jessica Alba. Like, you don't see them in movies anymore because they're too busy actually doing.
Oh, is that a child?
Yeah.
What, Ashton Kutcher with like the child abduction
The
and like trafficking and that stuff? Oh,
Jessica
yeah.
Alba runs this major company that she's doing. I think it's worth about $1 billion.
Does that help ground them that then they have an opinion now? Or,
well,
you know what I mean?
I think it makes them more relevant in the political space.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of them, you know, it takes a lot of money and resources in order to really make a difference or make a change. And so the only ones that can really do that are those that are really in show business making all that money.
Right.
Because normal average Joes like us, we're not going to be able to make really that much difference in the long run. We can try, but in the long run, it's not going to do much because we don't have the funds or the resources or that
This is
thing.
humbling. I thought I had to make a difference. Nope.
Sorry, you got to be Robert Downey Jr. and make $50 million a movie. And
it does. I always find it interesting and want to see like what their background is and where they're coming from. You know, okay, we do have a president now that doesn't have the best background as far as politics go, right?
Fart noise.
Okay, but we also don't have a lot of celebrities. Some of them, like, they just went to like these schools, private schools, and then they went to like these different places to learn their craft, and then they think that they can, you know, that they have like this great opinion when it's like, you just like, you know, you didn't have any like hard knocks kind of experiences there.
Again, some of them have.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, I like to actually see where they came from to see, I don't know, where they formed their opinion.
Yeah. I mean, like Charlize Theron, for example, she saw her mother murder her father right in front of her eyes. So, I mean, that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a hard life? That would be part of it.
Oh, for sure.
But I also think companies climb into bed with these celebrities because they want to be associated with that celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
They want their name next to Leonardo DiCaprio, you know. It does well for their image. And so, there again, it's feeding into the actor's ego that what they're doing is actually making a difference because companies want to be part of the actor's brand and they want, you know, they want to be associated with
But then
that.
they're also able to push their own agendas on those actors and... You know, by like saying like, hey, by sponsoring certain products that like, which the product is associated with whatever, right? As well.
So basically, it just becomes a big circle.
Oh yeah.
Basically, the snake eating its own tail.
But yeah, a lot of these people like these, they're not really impacting anything that's going to make a difference in our lives necessarily. Like Holden was saying,
right?
You know, that it's just like, I'm still going to go like about my day, like and not really worry so much about this.
Yeah. And see, the problem that I have with it is most of them are advocating for people to go and do something, like, for example, voting. And the thing that they're saying to do can help a lot of people, but it also hurts a lot of people as well. And that's not going to affect these celebrities because they're in their own bubble.
Right.
Like, they have the money that they need. Like,
right.
They're good.
Yeah. I get that.
So they're advocating for change that won't affect them. Which I think is a little, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. In other news, Let's bring it back. You know, like how you have like this, all these different stories that like they start out with like good evening and then proceed to tell you why it's not in the news.
Yeah.
You know, we need those like good, wholesome stories, you know, about like a rescued puppy or something to take place so that's what I'm about to do. A guy shows up in a full Batman suit, to help the police. This was up in Canada, in British Columbia. Okay, so get this. A guy dressed up in full Batman costume, drove up in a truck with the Batman logo on it, hopped out, walked up to the cops, and offered his help. A neighbor who'd been filming the entire thing caught it on video. The cops told the man to get the hell out and issued a statement to tell people not to do this and that they shouldn't. And then at the very end, at the tail end of the story, it's just like, fortunately, the standoff ended peacefully when the cops went inside and found that the person didn't have a gun after all. I'm like, this is Canada!
Yeah, that's Canada for you.
Canadian story I've ever heard.
Right? I'm like, if you're gonna fight crime anywhere, I think I'd probably pick Canada. Like, it's pretty safe, you know?
I'm Batman, eh? You need my help? I'll go in there and I'll talk to him.
I knew it.
Say sorry for surrounding you. That's funny.
It all ended in a group hug, you know?
I'll make him say sorry and we'll say sorry to him and we'll all go to Tim Hortons and have some donuts.
Which is actually, I found out, is owned by Burger King.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sorry to my Canada listeners.
Yeah.
And stereotypical Canadian accent, but
they don't even care, Troy.
That's true, they don't.
They're gonna apologize to you.
I'm sorry for having such a weird accent, eh?
Oh, that's funny. So we all know that Spider-Man came out this week.
Yes.
Obviously. The nice thing
Wait, what? No.
is Spider-Man, the Marvel's Spider-Man, the video game, PS4.
Yeah.
They added two of the new suits from the movie into the game as DLC, free of charge.
Nice.
Which I think is amazing. And they've done that for actually all of the Marvel's Cinematic Universe Spidey suits.
Mm-hmm.
Every suit that has been seen in the last 20 years is in the video game. And they each come with their own suit power. So we got the Night Monkey suit. And then also the one that... I won't give anything away.
The one at the end.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. I really like being able to switch out all the suits when I'm playing the game.
Oh, same here. Like it changes the way that you actually go in and fight like a certain group of people. You know, if you have like the Iron Spider suit on, I'm just like, I go in guns a-blazing. I don't care. I just jump in and like beat the crap out of everybody.
Shoot that drone out. Oh, the Iron Spider, is that the one
with the arms?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can just beat everybody up. Like they don't even stand a chance. Even like the 5 waves that come after you. But some of these other ones, they offer more of a tactical, you know, you have to be more stealthy. Yeah, not alert the other guards that are around you.
The thing that I like is each of the suits unlocks the power, and then you can use the power on a different suit.
Correct, yeah. Well, majority of the powers. Mm-hmm. There's some that you can't use with certain, like the naked one where he's wearing just like a paper bag. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one you're kind of limited on what you can do. But it's funny.
I really like the Spider-Verse one. It's really trippy to swing around because it's like what's that called? Like Borderlands type art style.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about.
Shading.
It changes up the whole environment. Yeah.
Anyways, it's pretty fun.
It's a great game.
And they're all free, you say?
All free.
Well, even like what's the other gal? They had a free DLC that you could play. She comes into the picture like later on in the story.
Black Cat,
yeah.
Oh, no. She's the girl who works for that one.
Mm-hmm, the other company.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other DLCs that they've come out with, they've all just been free, and they're just like, hey, yeah, you can go play these. And
you hear that, NetherRealm Studios?
Right?
Injustice?
EA?
Yeah, EA.
You can actually, and that's the thing that always like bugged me is when they come out. I mean, it's difficult, and I know it's a double-edged sword, but like if you already have all the stuff available at the release or when you drop the game, include it in the game, right? Like but then it's difficult because at the same time, people, because they've got this whole Fortnite mentality where you have to constantly have like different upgrades, and we have to constantly be like, have more and more things to unlock and more things to do if you want to like even keep people's attention for more than a couple of minutes. So it's difficult, but that's like even made it more difficult for them to kind of release more stuff, and they have to keep their game relevant.
Yeah.
Look, I understand charging for DLC. It makes sense to me. We bought the game one time. They're adding new stuff to it. They expect that work to be paid for. But I like the approach that Marvel or Sony, I think they're in charge of all of that, is taking because it's to get new game sales, really. And to make your existing customers happy, which I think is really cool and wholesome. Yeah. I think we need to see more of it.
Yeah, I like the games where you can unlock stuff by finding it in the game instead of downloading it. Because it gets more replayability that way.
You get people that are actually like going out and trying to like unlock new things and figure it out, and then they post about it and say like, hey, if you do this, if you do these couple of missions, you can actually get this particular hat or this outfit or this new, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Speaking of ways to make money, this social media, they're calling her a social media influencer.
Influencer, I hate that word.
Same here. Like, especially when they like invite them on the news to talk as if they actually have a decent
any
opinion.
Sort of,
or I care about their opinion at all.
I hate when they ask for stuff for free because they're like, hey, I'll give you a mention. It's like, no, I'm going to charge you double now.
Yeah.
This social media influencer, she is selling her bathwater for $30 a pop. It's like 26.59 euro. She's got like this British Instagram star, Bella Duffing, boasts an impressive 3.9 million followers on social media, and is recently, like, she says that she fills up the water, like these little things of water that she sells while she's taking a bath in it. And it's selling like hotcakes, dude. Just like, seriously, she's made millions of dollars doing this.
Right. So I mean, just looking at her, I get annoyed.
Yeah.
Just looking at that stupid picture.
You talking about the one with the pink hair, like even her ear, like the headphones?
Yeah, and she's holding an Xbox controller, and
which it seriously gives a bad rap to other like girl gamers out there.
Yeah, it does.
Right? That sex sells, and if you're not like attractive, you can't be a good gamer, or you can't like stream or have like followers and stuff, which is just like completely stupid. Because I like, man, this is difficult for me to admit, but I have a lot of like girlfriends that are better at me, like better than I am at certain video games. They're just like, I don't know, really good, and it sucks at the same time.
Yeah, so then you have these nerdy, sweaty geek gamers. They're like, oh, her body touched this water.
Yeah.
I have to have it.
And then there's like been people that have like even drank this water and gone to the hospital because of it.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
When I was married, I wouldn't even do that with my wife. I would drain the tub first before I got in.
Troy's all over there drinking it.
And then you have to pull all the hair out.
I know.
Women shed like crazy.
They do shed.
It's gross.
It's gross. Women are gross.
Mm-hmm. No girls allowed on this podcast. Yeah, jeez.
I was gonna say we haven't, but we have.
Yeah,
we have had a girl on this podcast before.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to our reviews.
So AJ, you saw this movie too, right?
Right.
It's called Always Be My Maybe.
Right.
And the good news is it's free DLC on Netflix.
Hey, there you go. You hear that, NetherRealm Studios?
So anyways, it stars Randall Park, who you may know from The Interview.
Mm-hmm.
He also Fresh Off the Boat. That's the
Correct.
series that he's in. He's
Yep.
in Fresh Off the Boat.
He's great in that series.
He's also in one episode of The Office. And
Was
he was in Aquaman.
Was he in Aquaman?
New Girl
he was in
and
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man as well,
Ant-Man.
and the
Oh,
Wasp.
right.
too.
He was all over the place. Was he in Crazy Rich Asians, like every other Asian actor in Hollywood?
I don't believe so. He was in Community.
Anyways, so the premise of this movie is it's two
Oh yeah, I know this guy.
people who grew up together, next door neighbors. They were super close, best friends, all up until their late teens, where they had a falling out, and then they didn't speak to each other for like 10 years. One of them, the guy, Randall Park, playing Marcus Kim, he still lives with his dad. He
Just smokes a lot of pot.
smokes a lot of weed.
Yeah.
Has an AC company with his dad. And then the girl, Sasha Tran, she is a restaurant. She's a chef, basically, and she owns a bunch of restaurants. And they end up seeing each other this 10 years later.
Because he actually ends up installing this AC unit for her.
In her rental house.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the story of them seeing each other after 10 years, and everything that unfolds after that. Keanu Reeves is in it
Oh, that cameo was great, dude.
as Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. It was.
He's just making the rounds, isn't he?
It was hilarious.
I can't imagine him actually acting like that in real life.
No, not at all.
Super hope
He played this like huge pretentious guy that like they go to this restaurant where it's like a 15-course meal where they're like, oh, now let me listen to some music about where this beef that's what it was. It was like
you're listening to the sounds that the animal makes while you're eating that animal.
and he's over there like crying and like just shedding like all these tears and like yeah.
And then he's like, I'm sorry. And then he continues to keep eating it.
So he was just basically just kind of making fun of himself.
Yeah. And it was great.
So the movie is actually really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I was super excited to watch it. It's a romantic comedy. You're gonna it's a roller coaster and everything.
Right.
But
Just when you think they're getting together, something else happens.
And it's a feel good movie. I definitely recommend the watch. I don't know, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, as far as like a Netflix movie, like I thought it was great. It was one of those ones that like would have lasted a couple of weeks in the theaters, but it would have done well. But yeah, no, it was definitely Netflix quality.
Yeah, out of 5 tennis balls.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, those are some really good songs in that movie. I really like them.
Oh, same here. I was like, that's actually really catchy. Like that's some clever stuff when he's like, he beat up Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd give it probably a 3.
All right.
I liked it.
Like there was a couple of parts that like I thought it would like drug on a little bit longer than what it needed to. But for the most part, it was like really solid acting. I was probably like a 2.5. Like as far because it's difficult because I'm comparing it to like all these other movies, right? And then this is like Netflix level. So
Yeah.
For a Netflix movie, it's really good.
Yeah.
Like if we're basing it on Netflix level, it's probably like a 4 for me.
Okay.
Just
All right.
as a movie, 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at about a 2.5.
All right. Continue on with the Netflix movies.
Murder Mystery. This is Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler.
Dude, I was way tentative to watch this movie because
Me
like
too.
Adam Sandler movies, like
I run far, far away
Right.
from Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised. Had a lot of really good moments in it.
And actually some substance to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a comedy. It is an Adam Sandler movie. But the premise is it's this couple. They've been together for I don't even know how long. But he promised her the honeymoon of her dreams going to Europe when they first got married, and that never happened. So this is like, I think it's 10 years later.
Yeah, it was about that.
He's like, all right, we're going to Europe. Like spur of the moment kind of thing. He didn't say.
Well, no, it was more so because she like brought it up again, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna ruin my surprise!"
Yeah,
like as if I've actually been like planning this.
Yelling at him for not doing this trip to Europe, and he's like, "Oh, you ruined the surprise. We are actually going." And so he basically plans this budget vacation to Europe that's costing a lot of money. But she meets this debonair stranger on the plane there, and he basically invites them both to come and do stuff with him. So they go on this yacht.
Not that kind of
Not
stuff.
that kind of stuff. I mean, if a billionaire...
I mean, when in Europe, right?
If a billionaire offers a bunch of money to go do stuff, I might.
I might too.
Anyway, so they're on this yacht for him and his family, and his uncle is going to make an announcement. Well, he's marrying someone, or he married someone, and he basically says, "Hey, I'm giving all of my wealth to this person, and none of you can have it." Like, it's got his whole family on there, and that's who would receive his fortune after he dies. And then as they're about to sign the papers, lights shut off. When they come back on, the guy is dead. And basically, it's a murder mystery.
Whodunit.
Yeah,
it's a whodunit.
Yeah.
I will say I called it from the very beginning.
Same here. Yeah, it was pretty
obvious.
But it was a fun little ride to go.
And how they actually got there.
Yeah, it had a lot of good moments in it. It did a really good job making the viewer feel out of place in this world. Did you feel that way too? You're like, oh man, I don't belong in this.
Not so much. I mean, I get where you're coming from. I don't know. I mean, the problems that I kind of had with it is it was Adam Sandler.
Right.
And
it's hard to look past.
Yeah. That's a big thing to leap over.
I mean,
although
he
it's pretty
plays himself in this movie.
Yeah. For sure. It didn't have any of his other buddies though. That usually make an appearance, right? It didn't have a lot of those really. No, I guess it had some really kind of stupid moments with characters that were. It was all right. It wasn't. I mean, I watched it pretty late, and there was nothing else to watch, and I'll watch this while I'm waiting for Stranger Things to come out.
It's a fine date night movie.
Okay.
If you want to Netflix and chill, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a decent movie to watch.
All right. So out of 5, whatever.
What would it even be out of?
Daggers.
5 daggers. That
Yeah.
works. I'd probably give it it's an average movie. I'd give it a 2.5.
Okay.
See, I'm about if that one's the other one was a 2.5. This one's probably a 2. It's not the worst. It's actually one of the Adam Sandler's better movies.
In recent years, yeah.
In recent years, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's worth watching if you don't have anything else to do.
All right.
Way to sell it.
Well, this one is not. Annabelle Comes Home.
Yeah. Don't tell me this. What the heck? I've been waiting for this movie.
Well, you're going to be disappointed. This movie is not good. And I'll tell you why.
All right.
So, let me break down the premise. So, this takes place after the other Annabelle movies. Ed and Lorraine Warren have taken Annabelle back to their home in their little occult museum and locked her up.
Yeah.
Which is just like real life. It's what they did. The evil doll. Anyway.
See, this is why I don't know if I can trust your opinion, because you already don't.
No. I can separate them.
Okay.
I can separate it.
All right.
Because that's where demons belong, is in movies.
Yeah.
Because they're not real. Anyway.
So
what happens is they have a daughter who is having little issues at school because
she's possessed.
Well, I don't want to say why. Well, is anybody going to see this? You'll probably see it. All right,
yeah.
I don't want to say why.
All right.
And she's having issues in school, and she's constantly being babysat by this girl because Ed and Lorraine Warren are always going out of town on their investigations and stuff.
Very neglective parents. What the heck?
Kind of, yeah. And so this is one of those times where it's their daughter and the babysitter, and her daughter's or the babysitter's friend comes over because she's heard about Ed and Lorraine, and she wants to kind of look around and stoop around and see the scary things. And she does have some ulterior motives, but again, I won't get into that. And then bad stuff starts to happen. Annabelle's case gets opened which releases evil, and then they have to survive
Oh, geez.
all of the evilness.
Until Ed and Lorraine get back.
Yeah, or if they can just... It's not waiting for them to get back. It's more of just, we've got to hurry and take care of this type of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They're like, oh crap, like our parents are going to get home. We better
better put this demon back.
Easier said than done.
So here's why it's not good. It's really, really tedious.
Yeah.
Because anytime something kind of scary would happen, they would approach the scary thing so slowly. Like they would slowly walk down a hall or slowly walk down stairs
And
or
they
slowly.
build that music up.
Yes. And it happened like 50 times. And you're just like, oh my gosh, let's
up and die.
get on with this.
Walk a little faster.
Yeah. And I was calling it out in the theater what was going to happen. I was talking to myself.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's going to get in the car. She gets in the car. Oh, the door's going to shut. Door's shut. Oh, now there's something outside.
Yeah.
Something outside.
Well, it's really easy to predict when they're moving so slowly, Troy.
Exactly.
You have a couple of minutes to predict it.
But it's...
She's walking towards the car. Oh,
Yeah.
she's going to get in the car.
But if you've seen any horror films, I mean, it's you can predict exactly
all
what's
the
going to
tropes.
happen. Yes, it's all the tropes. You know exactly where it's going to go.
Yeah.
However, I will say this. There are some really cool visuals.
Okay.
Some really interesting visuals that I haven't really seen before in horror films, which I can appreciate that. Has to do with coins over the eyes of the spirits of the dead that would drop. Because they'd be in the shadow, and the only thing you'd see is kind of the reflection of the coins.
Yeah.
So then when you shine like a flashlight on them, the spirit would disappear, but then coins would drop. It's really cool. Huh. It has some really cool visuals, I will say that. So out of...
Does it fit the Annabelle franchise? Like... and kind of that Curse of La Llorona?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say it kind of fits in there.
Because the nun was definitely a flop as far as movies go.
You know how many people should have seen that movie?
None.
Yeah. Yeah, so out of 5 coins, I guess, I would give it like 1.5, honestly.
I could have called it.
Yeah. It's just
It's going so slow.
Right?
it's predictable. You know where it's going. It's really not that interesting. It focuses on the jump scares instead of like an interesting story. They try to weave in an interesting story, and it just doesn't work. So yeah.
Dang.
The other one I saw yesterday. I didn't see it yesterday. The movie is called Yesterday.
Oh, yeah. You confused me too, right?
So the premise of this one is what would happen if one day you woke up, you're a musician, you woke up, and nobody in the world except for you knew who the Beatles were.
You'd have a lot of number 1 hits on your hands.
Exactly.
That's the whole movie.
Pretty much. And that's what happened. There's a guy named Jack. He's a struggling musician. And after another failed gig at this fair or this little music festival, he says, "That's it. I'm done. I'm out."
Yeah.
And so he's riding home on his bike. Power goes out all over the world. The entire world blacks out for 12 seconds. And during that time, he gets hit by a bus. He wakes up in the hospital. And he then soon realizes that he's the only one who knows who the Beatles were.
Even after Googling it, there's no...
Yeah. Well, it's made for a few funny scenes.
But, like, how does that even happen? Right? All these, like, older people? Huh.
And I will say also, the Beatles weren't the only pop culture item that disappeared, you come to find out.
Okay.
So
Did it have like just a ton of Beatles songs in it?
yeah,
That you're like tapping your toe and too.
and they were good covers of them too, because he what happens is he's trying to remember the lyrics and he can't quite get them. That's kind of an interesting thing
Google
too.
them.
Right, can't Google them.
Right.
And so he doesn't make them, like a club remix or anything. He plays the song straightforward,
Yeah.
which is good. And so then he's constantly faced with this problem of he's become extremely famous, but he's famous off of other people's songs,
Right.
even though nobody remembers those songs but him.
Which would then be difficult to do anything because, like, they have definitely kind of a not I wouldn't say like acquired taste, but they have like a certain genre that they like, or like a group demographic that they appease to, and if you wanted to do anything branch off of that, it would be kind of difficult.
See, I wouldn't feel guilty at all because there's no doubt that he's a talented musician.
Yeah,
He's just not a talented songwriter.
right.
And
Yeah.
musicians do that all the time. They play other people's songs.
Tons of covers. That's how they get their notoriety and fame. And then, yeah. The other thing, I saw this thing by the director that he was talking about, like, cause he had a couple of different people in mind to play this. Like Ed Sheeran was on the list as well.
Which he's in the movie.
Yeah. But they like initially, like, he was the second person that they went and asked. And finally they brought this gentleman in. And when he was singing it, he said, the director said it felt like he was making it his own. And it didn't feel like it was like, I mean, he had to remember, oh yeah, wait, this is the Beatles, this is their song, but he was making it his own, that it seemed real and like he was actually creating it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, as a Beatles fan, I really liked it. I would say if you're not a Beatles fan, I think you'll still enjoy it, but I don't think you'll get as much out of it, I would say. I think that's fair to say. It's a very original story. They leave a lot open to interpretation. They don't give you all the hows and whys and that sort of thing, which I thought was fine. And I left the theater and just kind of was contemplating the reality that this movie had created and the consequences of that reality. And if a movie can do that, then it's got something. So out of 5, well, I'm going to say Yellow Submarines.
Okay.
Because that does come into play later in the movie. I'm giving it, I'll say this. As a Beatles fan, I will give it 3.5. Okay. Because they've made movies based around Beatles music before that haven't always been that good, like I Am Sam and Across the Universe. This is the best one out of those. But as just a regular movie, if I was a Beatles fan, I'd give it like a 3.
Okay.
Yeah. It still has a good story and it's still entertaining. It is a romantic comedy. It is a rom-com, so beware of that when you go in.
Beware
of that.
Throw in a disclaimer. That's almost like spoiler alert. But
I meant to say be aware.
Okay. Beware.
Beware of
that. Is there any artist? Okay. Are there any artists that you would love to have their music be your music? That you would know enough of their songs that you could actually put together a couple of albums?
Well, besides the Beatles?
Yeah. Right?
Foo Fighters.
Okay. Probably for myself, like, I don't know, Linkin Park or Weezer. I know a lot of their stuff, like, I don't know, Blink 182, those guys. Sum 41.
For me, literally nothing.
Nothing?
I don't know any artist songs well enough to even be able to sing them.
Therefore, you couldn't karaoke one of their songs?
Well, if the words are right in front of me and I could read them, yeah.
No, if it's just like just the music.
Oh, no way. Not one single artist.
See, the only
Happy birthday.
The only band I could do that with is the Beatles.
Okay.
Yeah. Where I can sing their songs beginning to end, and I don't need lyrics or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm struggling to think of one song that I know by heart. I don't think that I have any.
Well, and you've said in the past that you're not a big
Not a
music
music
guy. Yeah, I only am a little bit. All right, so let's get to the movie, the big one that came out that we've all seen. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
It's been a long time since we've all seen the same movie.
That's true.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
And pretty much at the same time, so we could all talk about it on the same episode.
What?
Weird.
Okay, so I will say this about the movie.
Yeah.
I went into this movie, like, already kind of knowing what I was going to say on the podcast today. I was going to say, probably a good movie.
Yeah.
But I'm getting burned out on superhero movies.
Okay.
Just throw that away.
All right. Awesome.
I will say that.
So really quick, here's the premise. This takes place after Endgame. There was some question about that, and it does. Takes place after Endgame. And which we've all been calling in the real world, the snap. They call it the blip.
Which I actually liked.
Well,
I liked the way that they handled that.
Why would they know that it's called the snap?
Yeah, they wouldn't know. Yeah, they weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of addressed that, and they kind of addressed the fact why Peter is still in high school, even though it's been 5 years
Right.
since everybody blinked out of existence.
Because like these kids that like are and that would have sucked for the kids that stayed behind, because then they had to start the school year over, and everybody else that's like age wise and educational wise at a certain level, they're not. I mean, they might be adults, they might be 21, but they're only like 17 or something,
Yeah.
Yeah, like technically they're this age, but they're really 5 years younger than that.
Right.
I do think it's really coincidental that it's like all of the main characters that got blipped.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
For the plot.
For the plot. So Peter and all of his friends and classmates are heading on this trip to Europe, this summer vacation, and you've seen in the trailer what ends up happening is Nick Fury finds him and says, I need your help with this thing.
Yeah. Because he's struggling a little bit, because he's supposed to be the next, take up the mantle for Iron Man, where there's that big loss. He's also wants to be a kid, and he also wants to travel and, just do kid things.
Right.
Doesn't even want to take his suit with him. Thanks a lot, Mary Jane. Or Aunt May.
So he ends up going over to Europe, which he runs into this new hero called Mysterio. And then we go from there.
Are we keeping this spoiler free?
Yeah, I think it's less than a week.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep it spoiler free.
Or maybe we can
After?
do what you were saying. We'll do the after episode.
Okay.
And that one won't be. And then whoever wants to listen to the after episode.
There we go. We'll do that.
Spoiler version.
We'll do that. We'll do an end credit scene.
Yeah.
That's what we should start calling them, end credit scenes.
I like it.
And we'll talk about, or do our spoiler full review after. Okay. Here's my thing basically. I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a good sequel to the other Spider-Man film. But I will say it took a little bit to kind of get going.
Yeah.
It was very much a teen movie. It really was.
Yeah, absolutely. That was probably one of my bigger issues with it. I mean, I get that he's a younger kid, but he's aged so much that it almost felt like he digressed a little bit in this movie, as far as his progression in becoming this epic
He did seem
super
younger.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he took a step back, because now he's dealing with more of these kid issues that in the other ones he kind of missed out on these opportunities.
Yeah.
Right, to actually to kiss a girl, or or to dating. And the thing that I didn't like so much is which I love the movie, but Nick Fury and Happy trying to act young and hip and say cool words like ghosting, and that party was lit, and man, it hurt a little bit.
I mean, it hurt, but in a good way. It was funny because that's what older people try to do now. They try to say the things that the kids say nowadays.
And Happy, they've set him up where he's so out of touch anyway.
Yeah.
Like in Iron Man 3 when he was trying to show Tony what was going on his iPad and he wouldn't turn it around and yeah. So that I kind of
it didn't seem out of place,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it was a little excessive with like that run on ghost joke.
They
the
leaned
ghosting
on it a little bit.
It's because there wasn't a word for it before. Like the ghosting is like now a thing. It's in the dictionary.
Yeah.
No.
But before it's like they're ignoring me. That's kind of a lame way to say it.
That's not a cool way to say it,
Yeah.
old man. So yeah, I get that. But once it started to pick up and once
The fight scenes were great.
yeah, fight scenes were good, the
Phenomenal.
visuals were good.
Right?
Yeah.
The store, like the... So hard to...
I know.
Keep it. Yeah.
Just get in the microphone stuff in my brain. I feel like it was very original in terms of like how everything was happening. You know, with the thingies.
Yeah.
The thingies.
You guys get it.
Yeah,
I
you know the
what you're
thingies.
Anyone who's seen it knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. That
It was an original villain idea.
It wasn't like, speaking of the villain, we all know it was going to happen though, right? Didn't you guys see that coming?
I mean,
that
he's Mysterio.
Yeah.
He's notoriously a Spider-Man villain. Like,
Right, that's like
everybody knows that.
enlisting help from Loki and not expecting him to have like his ulterior motives or another plan. You know,
Right.
It's crazy that he's a good guy in this movie.
Yeah.
Love when they do that. Make bad guys good guys.
So, and speaking of Mysterio, I really liked Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I liked that he kind of became a friend of Spider-Man, kind of became a father figure for him. And I liked how he portrayed.
well,
that
he was
character.
able to relate a little bit more because there was less of an age gap between him and Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like they intellectually, Spider-Man and Iron Man are on the same, like, on par.
Yeah.
Right? But as far as like relatability and dealing with like more kid issues or, dating and that thing, like there was less of an age
It's
gap.
like Iron Man was like a dad, but
Mysterio
was a brother.
Yeah.
Brother,
Yeah.
uncle, something like that.
Like an older brother. who's
Yeah.
Cool and experienced and...
Yeah.
But-
Can grow a whole beard.
Yeah, I was never skeptical about Jake Gyllenhaal playing this role.
No, he's
he
a
does
great
job with everything that he does.
Yeah.
Night Watch.
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
No, he was also in Night Watch too.
What is
Wait,
Nightwatch?
No, that's what was the cop film he was in?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, End of Watch.
End of Watch. That's what I got the two crossed over.
Yeah,
Mixed
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Watch.
Yeah.
End Crawler.
End
End
Crawler.
That's
Yeah.
a new movie about a guy who just goes to clubs and gets some babes.
At the end of the night, last call. Like he's on the prowl. Oh, that could be a dark movie though.
That would be a dark movie. Yeah.
He'd do it well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wink.
So out of 5,
those
Wait,
things, those thingies.
the 5 thingies.
Yeah.
All right, out of 5 thingies, I'm at.
It's you had 22 other movies, like
Well, and that's the
But
other
this
thing. This is coming right after Endgame,
right.
which was a monster film, a monster hit.
Which made me laugh when they said that Spider-Man broke like the Endgame records. But I'm like, well, when did the movie come out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
They counted Tuesday to Sunday as the full weekend.
Yeah. I'm sitting at like probably 3.
Same. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 4, just because of my expectations before the movie.
Okay.
And it had some really good fight scenes.
It did.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And that's what we like.
Yeah. My thing is, it's very much a teen movie, which means they have a lot of unnecessary humor in it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of unnecessary jokes.
Mm-hmm.
With the whole night monkey thing, I thought that was a little. You want maybe take another pass at that. in the script.
How did you think that his, like, you know, the other kids in the group did as far as, like, acting goes?
Fine. I liked
what you'd expect in a teen movie.
Yeah. I liked that the story was progressing.
With the other guy.
Yeah, with Spider-Man doing his thing, but at the same time, the class thinks that they're just going on this tour of... Yeah.
And the teachers were completely clueless the entire time.
Yeah.
Thinking that they actually had, like, you know, they were directing traffic, like thinking they were actually directing things when, no.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny, but yeah.
Has it gotten you burned out as far as superhero movies go?
No.
No?
No. I don't think I'll ever be burned out, honestly. Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, so with the third installment, is he kind of past this teenage stage to where he can just go fight bigger and badder villains and deal with, like, bigger issues?
I think the third one, they may throw him in college.
Okay.
That's going to be my bet. Because,
I don't know if that. Because
the other two were focusing him on in high school.
Yeah.
So I could see him doing that.
But at the same time, then you'd still end up with the same kind of thing where he's, like, you know, having to deal with college life and, you know, Spider. I want a movie where he's just, like, he's already past that.
This being Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I think what the next movie is going to be is him pushing people that he loves away to protect them.
Like Spider-Man does.
And it has to be. I can't see any way, especially considering.
Yeah, and I did like the constant ties into Iron Man and talking about how you need to be the next Iron Man and blah blah blah. And
yeah,
I do think that Spider-Man is the new Iron Man, though. Like, in terms of our world, like, Iron Man was awesome.
Yeah,
like, the movies and everything, and I think the Spider-Man movies are taking over that.
So does this third one have to help usher in the next phase?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where Iron Man, like, catapulted the MCU, you know, Spider-Man's going to do the same?
Yes, I think the third Spider-Man film, I don't think it's not going to be the first one of, like, phase 4.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to have
Which one is going to be the first one of phase 4?
I don't know, I don't think they've said yet. It's going to have a lot of weight on its back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that they won't just do 3 Spider-Man movies. I think they're going to keep going.
I think so too.
Because Tom Holland is so young.
Yeah.
He's very, like, people like him as Spider-Man. I don't think that there's been
he's going to break the curse and actually get 4 movies.
Yeah. He's not going to be like Robert Downey Jr. where he started all this in his late 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can only do so many. But at the same time, he's also going to want to branch out and make other movies, right?
He may not want to. He may love being Spider-Man.
Which he does.
Yeah.
He said that.
But even still, like, there comes a point when you're, you know...
Yeah, I mean...
You're ready.
There will be a point to where if he keeps doing Spider-Man movies, people will only see him as Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be the Daniel Radcliffe Harry Potter
But
thing.
then by that point, he will have made enough money to not care. Too.
Much like Daniel Radcliffe.
You can just go around and do whatever he wants.
Does what he wants. Yeah. All right. Oh, one thing I want to bring up really quick.
You and Sean.
No. We are on podcast hosting service called Podcoin now. Now, here's what Podcoin is. And we're going to do some proper ads for them. But basically what it is you're going to listen to podcasts anyway. Yeah. So why not get rewarded for it? So, if you download the Podcoin app, you can find all the podcasts you listen to anyway. We're on there. You know, everything on Cosmic Potatoes on there. Pretty much any podcast you listen to is on there. So what happens is for every 10 minutes you listen to a podcast, you get 1 pod coin. Now, eventually, you can exchange those coins in for free rewards.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Like Amazon gift cards, Starbucks gift cards. If you want to if you're able to save them all, you can get like some really nice headset, that sort of thing.
What about some bathwater?
No, can't get any bathwater.
Wow.
But yeah, and so basically, you're going to be rewarded just for listening to podcasts. You're going to listen to them anyway, so might as well, right? So yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We've been able to get a lot of new listeners, a lot of new subscribers. So hello to everybody.
Yes, welcome to the World War G family.
Yep, that's found us through Podcoin. Yeah, and so if you're interested, you can go and get download the Podcoin app and listen to us on there and get rewarded for listening.
I mean, and if you've listened to this episode, that's 8 Podcoins right there.
Booyah.
That's true. That is true.
You can practically buy anything.
Now, it does take some long-term commitments to really buy stuff, but again,
if you're already listening to
listen to it anyways.
yeah. If I had this, back when I started listening to podcasts, back in like 2000,
how many coins would you have by now?
10, I'd have a lot.
Right?
I'd have probably hundreds of thousands at this point, I'm sure. So yeah, I just want to mention that, and we'll have like proper ads for them in upcoming episodes. But okay,
there you go.
Hang on, where'd my phone go? Here
Gotta
it is.
fish the words out.
Yeah, I gotta fish out the thing. Hang on. There it is. There. Wait, there it is. Okay.
All right.
So, if you want to listen to all of our episodes, you can go to worldwarg.podbean.com. We're also on iTunes, Google Play, and Cosmic Potato.
And Podcoin.
And Podcoin. That's more stuff I gotta say now. On social media, you can find us at facebook.com/WorldWarG Podcast. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at WWG Podcast. But if you really want to find us on social media, go to Facebook. That's where we post the most stuff. You can find all of our merchandise, shirts and whatnot at shop.spreadshirt.com/WorldWarG. You can also email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. You can also call the show or text it at 385-240-1692. So, this has been World War G episode 225. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
And I've been Colton.
Stay geeky, my friends, and stay tuned for our end credit scene.
Well, are we going to have it at the end of this, or are we going to have another episode that's like 220-something.5?
I don't know.
Something that they can download.
We'll discuss
work it out later.
It'll be there somewhere.
Okay.
Just look.
There you go.
All right. So, welcome to our post-credit scene.
Yes.
We're going to try to do this on pretty much all episodes. It's kind of going to be a little tag onto the episodes. If you want to listen, fine. If not, that's fine too.
Way to sell it.
And it's gonna be less formal, less structured. Basically, just all
rated R.
It's just a regular conversation.
Yeah.
Talking about things that we didn't get to in the episode, or that we thought of maybe
Yeah.
during the episode, but didn't want to throw out the flow.
Exactly. So what
I have a lot of random thoughts, though, guys.
Oh, great.
Oh, man.
So what we're going to do on this one is basically talk about the spoilers of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Which we almost did when we were talking about it before, but pulled it back.
It's hard not to because of the character.
Yeah.
Mysterio is a Spider-Man villain. Like, there's no way to go around that.
Yeah.
That'd be like the Joker playing a good guy in Batman movie. You're like, all right, guys.
And that's why when the trailer came out, like, I knew exactly what the plot of the movie was going to be.
Me too.
Oh, for sure.
Who wouldn't? Anybody who's familiar with Spider-Man. Like, I understand people that never knew Spider-Man before the
So they're like, what? No, what? He's a villain?
What? Whoa, strange, crazy.
That came out of nowhere.
I mean, I had a little bit of hope that he was going to be, like, actually a good guy until something happened and it turns him bad.
Yeah.
But he was a bad guy from the beginning.
Yeah, he was going to be a villain regardless.
Which that scene where he's in the pub was actually pretty cool. I really liked that. Where you had like a lot of different like characters that were in previous installments, and they even did like a flashback to those. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really well handled. That all these people that for whatever reason, got pushed aside by Iron Man or any of these other
They were
characters.
former Stark employees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what would have been great? You know that scene where it's after Tony unveils the fart?
Barf.
Barf. And it shows him and Jake Gyllenhaal in the background.
Yeah.
If they would have actually had Jake Gyllenhaal in the background of that scene, like in the actual Tony Stark or the Iron Man, that wasn't Iron Man, was it?
That was Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
Yeah.
That Civil War scene, that would be like they were playing chess 20 steps ahead.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to go back
because
and
the
look.
other guys they showed.
Yes. Yeah.
At the same time, I think somebody would have well, no, that would have sparked some buzz, because somebody would have seen it for sure, and then they would have hey, is he supposed to be a character?
Is that Jake Gyllenhaal back
You
there?
could go, because there's a lot of people who are, since he didn't have any speaking lines, you don't have to cast them, have them in the cast list.
Yeah.
If they don't have any talking parts, you don't have to credit them.
Right, you could just let Jake Gyllenhaal know, look, you're just going to be in the background of this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Your character is going to be a major player in another film down the road.
20 movies down the road.
Right now, we just want you in this one just real quick.
Yeah.
And he seems like the kind of person that would do that.
That would do it, yeah.
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 That would have been really cool.
Yeah, so basically, if you remember in Civil War in the beginning when you see Tony young and he's talking to his parents or thing, he talks about this barf technology. That was what they created in this one. That was Jake Gyllenhaal's Quentin Beck. That was his technology that he developed.
Right.
And so,
and it had a lot more potential than just being able to do what Iron Man was using, or Tony Stark was using it for.
And so what they did is he got a bunch of Stark employees, disgruntled Stark employees, and they started putting this plan together that they were going to create this Mysterio character, and he was going to be this new hero.
Well, they didn't know his name was going to be Mysterio.
Right.
Yeah.
Just this new character, and he was going to come in, be the hero, and he was going to get, Stark's tech, and they were basically going to take over.
And I loved how, going back again to that scene where he's talking to all these disgruntled Stark employees, Jake and Gyllenhaal's, his character, he had to rein it in because he wanted to take credit for everything, and but at the same time he's like, no, I have to share it with everybody else, you saw that whole, in his mind, he played that out, perfectly, where he's just that I grabbed it, and we, we did this, guys. We're gonna take over,
and I liked how we're
all gonna be rich.
How he was toasting everybody and saying what they did in the plan, and because usually that'd be like a villain spilling his plans, all this exposition, and everything. But the way they did it there, where he was congratulating everybody, I thought that was
kind of a different twist.
It was a nice way to explain it without beating you over the head with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Without also like you were saying with beating you over the head, or a lot of them. Exactly. They needed to explain it to some. You'll have a lot of characters that'll be like, hey, wait, but how does this work? And then they have to explain it to you, and it seems forced. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Colton, when you were saying that it was original idea, it was funny because what I was thinking was it's The Incredibles. That's what it is. It was basically Syndrome coming in and creating these problems that only he can solve, and he becomes a hero. And
that's not necessarily what I was talking about. I was just thinking of the drones and the
gotcha
projecting.
Gotcha.
That was pretty awesome. That looks legit, and how they used other technology to even create these things that Nick Fury and these guys would even to track it.
And he goes full Spider-Man there at the end. He always had a little bit of his spider sense, or they call it the Peter Tingle. But at the very end, he goes completely spider sense.
Oh yeah,
he goes full Spider-Man, which I thought was a cool scene.
That caught me off guard. The very last thing that he did with
where he grabbed the gun.
He grabbed the gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was cool. So should we talk about their end credit scenes?
Yeah.
The mid-credit scene,
it's a little mind-blowing.
It was great. It was great. You see Spider-Man, he's going to go on a date with MJ.
Oh, she used to be Ginger.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Huh. Yeah. They still got Jean Grey in X-Men.
There you go.
She's still a ginger, has been replaced by an African-American actress.
Yeah, but they made us not care about her anyways.
That's true. That is true. So yeah, they're gonna go on this little date and everything, and you see that Mysterio has got one last dig at Spider-Man. He pops up on the big screen in New York. He says, Spider-Man's coming after me. He's gonna kill me. He doctors the footage a little bit, so it seems like he did kill him.
Right.
And then who pops up? But J. Jonah Jameson. And it's played by oh, come on. I can't believe his name just fell out of my head.
I do like that it's him, though. Like, it's him in the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, they brought him back.
He voices J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man game.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe his... It just... Oh, man.
Podcast brain, dude.
At the
very end of the episode.
Crap. Hang on.
Paul and I, we suck at like
J.K.
celebrities'
Simmons.
names sometimes. So.
J.K. Simmons. Yeah, he's showed up as J. Jonah Jameson, and I cheered, but no one else did. I'm like,
they didn't understand the reference because they were too young.
I think that's what it was. There was a lot of kids in that screening.
Yeah.
And so
never seen the original Spider-Mans.
Yeah. But for me, I was like, ooh, that's awesome!
Yeah, what kind of full circle.
I'm so glad they brought him back.
Emily, and she's like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, no one else cheering for this? Seriously? Alright.
And then Mysterio drops another bomb, and he tells everybody that Spider-Man's true identity is Peter Parker.
It's Peter Parker. Shows him on the screen. And again, the mid-credit scene in the Spider-Man film ends with him going, or the line, what the f...
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny. So then, at the very end credit scene, we see Nick Fury and Maria Hill in the car. They're driving, all of a sudden they change, and it's the Skrulls.
Yeah.
It was the
Captain Marvel.
From Captain Marvel. And you see that he's talking to Nick Fury on the phone. He's like, look, people are asking me all these questions about the Avengers. I don't know what to say. You need to come back. And then we see Nick Fury, who's actually been in space for a while with the Skrulls.
Who knows what?
And so you start to wonder, well, how long has Nick Fury been up there, and how long has the Skrull been posing as Nick Fury?
Yeah.
Has it been this whole time, or has it been since he died in Winter Soldier, or, how long has it been?
And how did that exactly work with him during the snap?
Right.
Because was it the Skrull that was gone, or was it Nick Fury that was gone?
And
because they both would have known to call Captain Marvel.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So it kind of leaves a few unanswered questions there.
Think they'll be ever addressed?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing in probably the sequel to Captain Marvel. That's what I'm guessing.
Maybe that explains his use of the word ghost. Because the Skrull would want to try to fit in.
That's true.
Because that's what they do.
Oh, man.
That is true.
Ghost me.
So it left us a few questions. It set up Spider-Man 3 really well. And, so I think your theory about Spider-Man 3 is right. That because...
Pushing his family
away. He pushes everybody away because everybody knows who he is.
Everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he can't really play that off. Like...
Yeah, that's true. Can't be like, no.
He can't go to college now.
Yeah.
Because people are going to know that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, which you'll have a lot of people coming out of the woodwork to, villains that aren't even that, big or recognizable trying to beat him up for that reason. And then you'll also have, he would have to push everybody else away and just be like, all right, I'm doing my own thing, guys. You can't know where my fortress of solitude is.
My favorite line from the movie was when Mysterio first comes in and Spider-Man's like, hey, can I help? I'm really strong and I'm sticky.
Yeah.
He grabs one of those little masks.
He's sticky and he's got a Peter tingle.
Yep. Well, he is a teenager. Makes sense. All right. I guess we can wrap it up there. And this should be tagged on to the end of the episode. Maybe I'll have this particular one somewhere else. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But
We'll see.
anyway,
Maybe just on YouTube. Who knows?
maybe.
What?
I don't know.
Maybe we go somewhere else, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
If you want to find this Easter egg.
Don't really have anything to say after this one. Just whatever. Thanks for sticking around if you did.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Or
Sure.
We'll talk to you. Yeah. We won't see you.
We'll
No,
talk to you.
You'll
We don't interact with
See us
you.
either.
You'll hear us next week.
Yes.
There you
There's
go.
that.